The meeting of full House Finance Committee will come to order. Clerk, please open your roll. Members, please indicate your attendance. Close the roll. We have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the Subcommittee Number 1 report. Delegate Hernandez, are you ready or did I rush you?
You rushed me and I'm ready, Madam Chair.
All right.
Okay. All right. So the committee met on February 9th and we heard a number of bills in this category. What I would like to do, Madam Chair, is take action on a block, as a block with all these bills.
All right. If you would identify the block first.
So we recommended continuing to 2027 all 6 bills that are here. So that's HB 243, HB 504, HB 720.
Just one moment. If you can slow down. First on the agenda was House Bill 400, so that's not part of the block, correct? On the agenda that the public has. So you are turning then to, all right, you're starting with
February 9th. Yep.
243.
Yes.
Proceed then.
Okay. So HB 243 from Delegate Josh Cole. This is corporate welfare tax imposes on large employers as defined in the bill. Corporate welfare tax equal to 100% of the qualified employee benefits received by any employees of such large employer residing in the Commonwealth. The bill directs the Department of Taxation to obtain identifying data for individuals receiving qualified federal benefits as defined in the bill from the Department of Social Services pursuant to an interagency agreement, and to compare such data to employment rosters received quarterly from large employers. The next bill, HB 504 from Delegate McAuliffe, deals with income tax credit for certain small businesses. This establishes a one-time non-refundable tax credit for taxable years 2026 through 2030 for eligible small businesses as defined in the bill, equal to $2,500. The bill limits the total aggregate amount of small business credits claimed to $5 million per taxable year. The next bill, HB 720 from Delegate Zaire, deals with taxation on electronic distribution of material harmful to minors. This would create a tax at the rate of 10% of the gross receipts of any commercial entity operating as an adult website defined in the bill for all sales, distributions, memberships, and other content amounting to harmful material to minors defined in the bill that is produced, sold, filmed, generated, or otherwise based in the Commonwealth. The next bill from Delegate Franklin, that's Lily Franklin, HB 946, deals with income tax credit, affordable rental housing, establishes a non-refundable tax credit for taxable years 2026 through 2030 for eligible landlords equal to $750 per affordable dwelling unit, as certified by the Department of Housing and Community Development. The bill limits the total amount of such credits available to an eligible landlord to $15,000 per taxable year, and aggregate amount of such credits claimed to $5 million per taxable year. The next bill is HB 1133 from Delegate Reed, dealing with the Virginia Solar Energy and Battery Energy Storage Systems Program and tax credit. This bill would establish the Virginia Solar Energy and Battery Energy Storage Systems Program to be administered by the Department of Energy for the purpose of coordinating and supporting the development of solar energy and short-duration battery energy storage industries and projects by other public or private entities, evaluate and improving solar energy and short-duration battery energy storage projects as qualified projects for the purposes of the tax credit established by the bill. And the final bill here is HB 1230 from Delegate Sewell. This involves income tax provisions related to the Sustainable Aviation Fuel Production Tax Credit, and it would provide for taxable years 2026 through 2030 a non-refundable tax credit against individual and corporate income taxes for eligible producers of sustainable aviation fuel as such terms are defined in the bill. The amount of the credit is the lesser of 75 cents per gallon of sustainable aviation fuel produced in the taxable year, or $5 million. Like I said, for all of these bills, Madam Chair, the subcommittee recommended continuing to 2027.
Do I hear a motion? It's been moved and seconded that the 6 bills that have just been described all be voted on as a block. Is there anyone who wishes to pull one of these bills from the block? Any discussion? If not, clerk, please open the roll on carrying over to 2027 the 6 bills so numbered.
Voice vote, I think.
Voice vote, excuse. Thank you. Right. All those in favor of carrying over to 2027 the 6 bills that have just been described, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? They are carried over.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe there might be an omission on the sheet that we have before us, but the subcommittee also heard and took action on HB 400 from Delegate Herring. That bill had a substitute, so I would move the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded. We adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Those were amendments, so I move the amendments. Second. They're amendments.
The correction is then the motion before us is the bill as introduced, amended, not a substitute.
That's correct.
Correct. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this bill deals with the motion picture production, dealing with increasing the aggregate cap on the tax credit and extending the sunset. And we recommended reporting and referring to, we recommended reporting, and I so move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 40 as amended. Any discussion? This is a recorded vote. Clerk, please open the roll. Members, cast your vote. Please close the roll. HB 400 reports as amended by a vote of 18-2. And we will continue with your report.
Madam Chair, I think that concludes my report from that first meeting on February 9th.
As I understand, on February 9th, you also heard a number of bills having to do with data centers, and action was postponed to the full committee meeting. Those bills are on our agenda, and I would like to take them up at this time. Okay. And as a block, I would first move that I would first ask for a motion that HB. Let me get it correctly before me. Delegate Anderson's HB 784. Delegate Watts's HB 961 be incorporated into HB 897 Sullivan.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. And then I would ask that HB 593, excuse me, I'm going to push that off for a moment and move to HB 641, Krizik, to be carried over. All those in favor say, may I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those. The bill before us is HB 641, Krizik, and the motion has been to carry over to 2027. Moved and seconded. That is a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The next one would be making sure that I have all of these in proper order. And at this point, then, let me turn to HB 1132, which has to do with creating local residential renewable energy incentive program using data center revenue. There is a substitute which I do wish to adopt so that it's on the record.
Move the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And now this would be a recorded vote to table HB 1132. Pardon? I have been corrected that the patron of the principal legislation would prefer to continue to work with all players, and therefore, as a block, I am looking for a motion that will carry over those bills that have not been incorporated, and that would be Delegate Reed, 1132, as well as, what is the other one that you have?
HB 563 also.
HB 562. I'm sorry. We are back in order. So therefore, I have been corrected, and the bills to be carried over are 563 Reed, that has to do with establishing a separate classification of energy equipment upgrades to be taxed at a lower rate. Also to be carried over is, we've already concluded 641 Krizik, which has to do with using a data center, creating a data center land conservation tax. We also will be carrying over Delegate Reed's HB 1132 as with substitute. And finally, that will be those that are carried over.
I so move. Second.
With substitute. It has been moved and seconded that we carry over the aforementioned bills with the appropriate substitutes and amendments adopted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now, if I may continue, since I am looking at what I hope is also the order in which the public is seeing our agenda, and that is to the next one that would be on the agenda that we have not taken up was not heard by Subcommittee 1. The patron was absent. However, I would entertain, which has to do with corporate income tax sourcing of sales other than the sales of tangible personal property. I would entertain, as chairman of the full committee, I bring it before the full committee and ask for a motion that HB 609 be carried over.
So moved.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. The next one then that has not been that was not heard is a HB 697. I also bring that before the full committee. This has to do with a issue having to do with the fact that in 2011, we amended the Constitution allowing the surviving spouses of 100% disabled veterans to have 100% real estate property tax relief. There is a discrepancy between the Attorney General's opinion that this applies to 2011 and the standard 3-year window that applies to applying for taxes. Therefore, and the fiscal impact statement for instead allowing this as a income tax credit rather than being a burden on the locality's real estate property, the bill that is before us provides for a provides for an income tax credit of the amount of the real estate tax relief that is not eligible because it does not fit in the 3-year window. And the fiscal impact statement would be less than $100,000 a year and decreasing as the years go by. With that description, I would entertain a motion to report and refer to appropriations.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please open the roll. Members, cast your vote. Close the roll. It reports unanimously 20-0. The next one that we have not yet heard then is HB 897, Sullivan. This is a major bill looking at the eligibility for the sales tax exemption on the purchase of equipment for data centers. I would entertain a motion to report and refer to appropriations.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
there is a substitute.
yes, if you would please.
Move it. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that there is to adopt the substitute for HB 897. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Madam Chair, speaking of the bill.
Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the Chair's indulgence, letting me say a couple words, and I appreciate the committee's indulgence as this very challenging bill continues to evolve. We've just put a substitute in which represents sort of the state of our negotiations to date. I want to thank all the stakeholders that have been involved in this conversation, which is ongoing. But as I said, the substitute we're voting on today represents sort of the state of play. I expect continuing and ongoing negotiations as we try to improve the bill from here on out. But I appreciate what the chair is doing and appreciate the motion to report and hope that the committee can support that.
Delegate McNamara.
Thank you. Is it posted on IHOD yet? Was on another system, it was not posted. I'm wondering if it's in IHOD, the substitute, or if you could just say what the substitute might say would be fine as
Council
well.
is shaking her head.
Should be posted online now.
Thank you.
Giving you a moment. Again, for the audience, these are all posted online, which underscores the importance of our action to adopt amendments and substitutes, even on bills that we carry over, so that you have the best possible information at this point in time.
Madam Clerk, could you give me the bill number again, please? Could I give me the bill number again, please? I'm still trying to find it.
It's 897.
All right, that is House Bill 897. That should be posted online. The substance of the changes in the substitute, those are going to be on lines 186 through 195, as well as on lines 211 through 220 of the substitute, and what that does is it adds a requirement that the data center shall demonstrate that for any new data center issued a final certificate of occupancy or its equivalent on or after January 1, 2030, or any data center operator seeking an amended memorandum of understanding that sufficient investment in environmental management and energy efficiency measures provide system-wide benefits. And then it defines those system-wide benefits, starting on line 211.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I see it.
Thank you, Delegate McNamara. With that explanation of the substitute, then the bill as substituted is before us for a motion to report and refer to appropriations.
So move.
Second.
Clerk, please open the roll. Members, cast your vote. HB 897 is reported and referred with substitute to appropriations by a vote of 16 to 5. Close the roll. Okay, the next bills, yet I have had a request on HB 1258 that it go by for the day.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then on HB 1461, which has to do with microchips and semiconductors, it has a very large fiscal impact should it be adopted. Therefore, I would entertain a motion that we table HB 1461 that has to do with microchip and semiconductor manufacturing.
So move. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please open the roll. HB 1461 is tabled by a vote of 19 to 1. Having now, I believe that we are ready. Thank you very much for enduring a very challenging agenda, Delegate Hernandez. And now I would like to turn to Delegate Anthony for the report of Subcommittee Number 2.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Finance Subcommittee Number 2 of the report. I'm going to do some things procedurally just to get some pieces of legislation in the right place. So I will take up House Bill 919 and House Bill 1094 together. First, I would like to take up House Bill 919. The committee recommended to adopt the substitute, and I'll speak to that substitute before we make a move. That substitute puts it in alignment with House Bill 1094, in which it imposes a firearm and ammunition excise tax, 11% gross receipts from the sale of firearm or ammunition of any firearms or ammunition manufacturers instead of retail sales and use. So these bills are aligned, and the committee adopted the substitute, and I so move.
And so the substitute is before us that would align HB 919, and it incorporating.
We have not
into
incorporated yet, Madam Chair. So I'm getting the 919 substitute in its
order.
proper
Thank you.
position first.
All right, then the motion before us is just on the substitutes as described. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay.
All right, so now HB 919 and HB 1094 are in alignment, and so the committee has recommended to incorporate House Bill 1094 into House Bill 919, and I so move.
Second.
All right, is there all those in favor of the motion to amend HB 1094 by substituting 919, incorporating 919 as substituted? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. So at this point, 1094 is been amended.
Madam Chair, House Bill 1094 is now incorporated in House Bill 919. Next movement is
You
that
went the other way. You need to go the other way. We have dealt with 919, and now it's time to go to 1094.
Madam Chair, correction. Madam Chair, House Bill 1094 is going to be incorporated into House Bill 919.
Thank you, my apologies. You are correct, and I do apologize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so now, Madam Chair, the House Bill 919, as substituted, committee recommended adding a delayed enactment to the now substituted House Bill 919 to July 1st, 2027, as agreed to by tax. So I so move.
It's been moved and seconded that we add a delayed enactment clause of to July 1st, 2027. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
All right, so now we have House Bill 919 in its proper form. And so committee has recommended to report House Bill 919 as substituted, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded that we report House Bill 919 as amended. Are there anyone wishing to speak to the motion? If not, clerk, please open the roll.
Substitute as amended.
Yes. All those please open the roll on the substitute for HB 919 as amended. Clerk, open the roll. Members, cast your vote.
Madam Chair, that will just be a report with substitute.
Correction, Madam
We're
Chair.
at ease for just. Back in order. Proceeding then to restate the motion is for HB 919 as amended. No, I'm sorry. I need to turn to the
We adopted
authority
those
of our-
amendments, and they are now part of the substitute, so we can just report with substitute, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Council. Now I will restate House Bill 919 as substituted. Committee recommended reporting, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 919 be reported as substituted. Clerk, please open the roll. Members, cast your vote. Close the roll. It is reported with substitute by a vote of 14-7.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next before us, we have House Bill 954. The committee has recommended to move the substitute, and I so move.
Second.
Okay. The motion before us is to report HB 954, which
Removing the
deals-
substitute, Madam Chair, correction.
Please proceed. Remove substitute motion, please.
Correction, Madam Chair, we are moving the substitute for House Bill 954 as recommended by the committee.
Second.
Okay. Now the motion before us is to move the substitute. Would you like to describe the substitute, or shall I?
Madam Chair, I will yield to you to describe the substitute.
I just wanted to make sure that as we are going through all these numbers, that there's some substance to this. Has to do with procedures for rounding up or rounding down, if there are for any cash transactions having to do with the discontinuation of the penny. And it also clarifies, however, that all taxes and fees due are based upon the full price before any rounding up or rounding down.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the committee has recommended reporting House Bill 954 as substituted by a vote of 10-0, and I so move.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we report HB 954 as substituted. Clerk, please open the roll. Members, cast your vote. HB 954 reports with substitute unanimously, 21-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next before us, we have House Bill 1008, and the committee recommends moving the substitute, which moves to a different code section from the retail sales and use tax section to the code to the motor vehicle sales and use tax section, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded. We adopt the substitute as described. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So now we have House Bill 1008 with substitute, and it definitely protects taxpayers from double taxation. And the committee recommends reporting by a vote for 10-0, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 1008 be reported as with substitute. All those in favor, clerk, please open the roll. Members, cast your vote. HB 1008 reports unanimously by a vote of 21-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and that concludes the report for Finance Sub 2.
Thank you. The next items before us are Subcommittee 3. Delegate Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Subcommittee 3 met, and the first bill we want to deal with is HB 188, which we recommend be incorporated into HB 979.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 188 be incorporated into HB 979. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It is so done.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next, well, I'd ask the Chair's preference would be what I would suggest would be a block of bills. Mm-hmm. The motion would be to continue all of these bills to the 2027 session, and that, of course, would also include HB 188, which is now part of your 979. Or do you want me to do them one at a time?
I would think it would be appropriate to read each
Yes.
title and the patron's name, possibly, for example, sales tax on food,
Sure.
but that's your choice, sir.
So, Madam Chair, I'll try to expedite here. So we'll start with HB 13 from Delegate McNamara, which deals with sales and use tax and food purchased for human consumption and personal hygiene products, and it would eliminate the remaining 1% local sales and use tax that's imposed on food purchased for human consumption and essential personal hygiene products beginning in July 1, 2026. Next would be HB 372 from Delegate Price, which deals with the earned income tax credit, and that removes the sunset from and makes permanent the increase in Virginia's refundable earned income tax credit from 15% to 20% of the allowable federal earned income tax credit. Next would be HB 703 from Delegate Tata, also deals with the sales and use tax and food purchased for human consumption and essential personal hygiene products, and would eliminate the remaining 1% local sales and use tax that's imposed on food purchased for human consumption and essential personal hygiene products. Next is my HB 900, which has to do with sales and use tax on taxable services and digital personal property, taxes levied in certain transportation districts, and funding for transportation around the state. It would decrease the retail sales tax and then make other further adjustments to the distribution of funds from those sales taxes. It would also impose some additional sales and use taxes in counties that are in the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission area, and would make a variety of other changes relating to funding of transit and transportation around the state. Next would be HB 978 from you, Madam Chair, which has to do with levying retail sales and use taxes on services, a variety of different services, and also imposes a retail and sales and use tax on digital personal property, as that's defined in the bill. The bill also provides certain exemptions to those sales and use tax on services. including particularly healthcare services that have to be performed by a person that's certified by Department of Health Professions. And then finally, the bill exempts food purchase for human consumption and essential personal hygiene products from all state, local, and regional sales taxes on and after July 1, 2026. Next, as a part of this block, Madam Chair, is your HB 979, which would increase the standard deduction to $10,000 for single individuals, $15,000 for individuals eligible to claim head of household for federal tax purposes, and $20,000 for married individuals beginning in taxable year 2027, and would index such deduction amount for inflation beginning in taxable year 2028. It also removes the aggregate amount of housing opportunity tax credits that may be claimed for qualified projects, and it also establishes 2 new tax brackets. And finally, the bill provides a certain percentage of revenues generated by the new tax brackets would be dedicated to localities for maintenance operation, capitalized debt, interest payments, and other expenses incurred in the operation of public schools. And then the next bill in the block is Delegate Hernandez's 1074, which makes a number of changes to the Commonwealth's tax structure relating to some new tax brackets. It also increases the income tax subtraction available for military benefits from $40,000 to $60,000 for taxable years beginning on and after January 1, 2026, but before January 1, 2027. For taxable years after January 2027, such $60,000 amount will be adjusted annually for inflation. The bill also, for eligible low-income taxpayers, allows them to claim a refundable income tax credit equal to 25% of the federal earned income tax credit claimed by the taxpayer in that same year. The bill also establishes a refundable income tax credit for taxable years 2026 through 2030 for taxpayers with a Virginia adjusted gross income equal to or less than 250% of the poverty guidelines, and become eligible for a tax credit pursuant to Section 36B of the Internal Revenue Code in an amount equal to 100% of such taxpayers' enhanced premium credit defined in the bill. And then finally, we have Delegate McNamara's HB 33.
That is before
We've already
the committee.
accomplished that, haven't we?
That is before the committee.
Before the committee. And HB 1156 is also before the committee.
That's correct.
So, Madam Chair, I've described a block. I'll just state
If
it
I-
again for the record. It's HB 13, HB 372, HB 703, HB 900, HB 978, HB 979, and HB 1074. The recommendation is to continue those bills to the 2027 session, and I so move.
Second.
I would ask that the motion be amended so that it incorporates all substitutes for those bills. We have HB 978 and HB 979. Both had major substitutes. I don't believe there were for any others. In Courts Committee, we have adopted them as a block, but I would entertain a motion to separate them out if council believes that would be more appropriate.
Madam Chair, and I would defer to the clerks on this, but I do believe that if we are continuing bills, the substitutes are not going to be reported from the committee. So while they may have been offered in the subcommittee meetings, they are publicly available, they're online. We've already taken care of all of those, so I think you can just do a block vote now.
Thank you for that clarification. Then the motion is properly before us to, by voice vote, to move to support carrying over the forenamed bills. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Bless you.
Is that a no?
Okay. With that exclamation point.
They're really carried over.
Right.
Madam Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Chairman McNamara. And then we have finally on the agenda as published, we have 2 bills that were before the committee. Again, as chair, I would recommend that no action be taken on either of the bills. On HB 33, having to do with the income tax pass-through entities sunset, that was incorporated in HB 977, the conformity bill that we passed, and that language has already been incorporated into HB 29, which was passed on the floor yesterday. HB 1156, having to do with an additional local tax to support schools, was already passed in HB 334 by Delegate Rasool. That then is the business that was published to the public on the agenda. Is there anything else to come before the committee? If not, the committee will rise. We are adjourned.